Welcome to the Income Outcome Show, a podcast publication part of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. The Income Outcome Show is dedicated to pharmacists, pharmacy technicians, pharmacy students, and all pharmacy professionals interested in maximizing their income and providing insights into living a financially free lifestyle.
All matters discussed during this podcast are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed herein are solely those of Waypoint Strategic Advisors, LLC, and our editorial staff. Material presented is believed to be from reliable sources. However, we make no representations as to its accuracy or completeness. All information and ideas should be discussed in detail with your individual advisor prior to implementation. The presence of this podcast shall in no way be construed or interpreted as a solicitation to sell or offer to sell advisory services to anyone. Waypoint Strategic Advisors, LLC is not affiliated with or endorsed by any government agency and are not engaged in the practice of law. Content should not be viewed as an offer to buy or sell any of the securities mentioned or as legal or tax advice. You should always consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation.
And now here are your hosts of the Income Outcome Show, Ben Coakley with Waypoint Strategic Advisors and Joe Castleman with Pharmacists Financial.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Incomes Outcomes Show on the Pharmacy Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ben Coakley. I'm here with my compadre, Joe Castleman. Joe, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Awesome. Joe, I was thinking before I came in here about kind of the season that we're in and all the chaos and everything that's going on. And so I just wanted to see if there's anything you have that's relevant to kind of what we're going to talk about today, maybe that's happened to you in the last couple of weeks.
Last couple of weeks was actually pretty good. I actually got to come out to South Carolina and visit you and your family. And that had been the first time I've been out to that part of the country. And it was quite fun, quite beautiful.
Yeah. What'd you think of the food, man?
Oh, man, the food was amazing. That one place we went to, I forget what it was called, but it was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody who here's listening and ever gets to Charleston, South Carolina, if you leave hungry, that's your fault.
That's
not anybody
your fault.
Else.
Yeah. And Ben, I'm in Texas, and we have very good food here, so it's a compliment, definitely.
Well, good. Yeah, it's I love where I'm from. I love the South Carolina, North Carolina area. And just it's a phenomenal place. It's growing like wildfire, just like Texas, Joe. And it's very interesting. So, so let's get started. What are we talking about today, Joe?
Ben, we're going to talk about creating great financial habits. And we're going to give a couple examples of financial habits that each of us can take that are easy and very effective for us. I guess the question starts with, how many of us, the last time we set goals, maybe it was a year ago, how many of our goals did we not achieve or we failed to accomplish? And, the question is why, and Ben, why do our goals not come true? What happens?
Yeah. And I've got some thoughts on that, Joe, but it's amazing to me to go beyond that. It's amazing to me to find out that only 5% of people in the pharmacy industry have personal written goals. It blows my mind. There was actually a study done in 1957. We're going way back. The 1957 graduating class of Yale. They interviewed all the seniors, and only 3% of them had written personal goals.
Wow.
Joe, 20, and that's the elite of the elite, Yale, right? So 20 years later, they went back to that same graduating class, and they looked at all the net worths, and that 3% had more net worth than the other 97% combined.
Just by writing down their goals.
By writing their goals and looking at them and creating great habits. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Yeah. The reason goals, if you are one of the few who choose to write down your goals, and I encourage everybody, it doesn't have to be rocket science. You don't have. This is not something that you were born with or anything like that. These are things that you can actually do. We talk about SMART goals and specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Make sure that they're smart and you can measure them and things like that. But then develop the habits to achieve the goals. And Joe, one of the things that's in this time of year, in any time of year, there's always things that come up that kind of sway us or push us away from doing the things that are really important. So when we talk about creating great habits, these are things that you can do every single week that are going to ensure that you give yourself the best chance to achieve your goals. Does that sound great?
It does. So I guess people need to write the goals down first, right? I mean, if you say only 5%, that's kind of amazing, Ben. I didn't realize it was that few. So any pharmacist that's listening right now, you could stop and just write down a couple goals
keep it simple.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Keep it simple. Joe, didn't mean to talk over you there, bud, but
that's okay.
Write down 3 things. Write down 3 things you want to do by the end of this year.
Yes.
I mean, it's as simple as that when it comes to actually writing and setting goals. Now, we got to create the habits that are going to help us achieve the goals. And doesn't matter if it's personal goals, business goals, financial goals, it doesn't matter. We're talking about creating great habits, and then we're going to talk about how that applies financially. Joe, you're going to do that a little bit later. So let's talk about beginning with the end in mind. The first habit, and that's writing that goal down. Let's envision what we want to have happen, and let's write it down. And then let's set what we call micro quotas. Great example of this is if you wanted to lose 15 pounds, Joe, if you're like me, buddy, we might want to get in the gym a little bit.
Yeah. How about 20? I'll do 20.
Yeah. I'm about 25 myself. So 25 and counting. So if I want to lose 25 pounds in 2018, I need to lose 2 pounds a month. So instead of focusing on 25 pounds, that seems like a mountain to climb, maybe. 2 pounds a month. Oh, I can do that. I can make a couple of subtle changes to what I do and lose 2 pounds a month. The second thing you got to do is create what we call behavior chains. Really important that this has got to be part of who you are. Okay? If you are someone who doesn't like to run, like me, because I think running is like the most boring thing ever. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna lose my 2 pounds a month by running.
Okay.
I'm gonna find an activity that I enjoy that's gonna help me lose 2 pounds.
Okay, so when you say behavior change, something that you can probably actually do and enjoy doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're driving, I had a conversation with a young guy one time. He said, "I want to lose some weight," and I said, "Well, where's your gym?" He said, "Well, it's about 20 miles the opposite direction of pharmacy school." I was like, "Find another gym, bud. You're not going to drive 20 miles to work out and then drive 20 miles back to go to school."
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. That's not even reasonable. I have a wife in pharmacy school, and she has barely enough time to take a shower sometimes. And, so let's create good behavior chains, and let's make sure it's a natural part of who we are. Number 3, eliminate excessive options. Joe, how many times have you been over to somebody's house and they take you in their closet and there's like 5,000 articles of clothing?
Yes.
Science has proven that you only have so much capacity in that computer between your ears.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does make sense. If you clutter it up with stuff that's not meaningful, then all the stuff that really makes a difference and matters, is going to go away.
Yeah,
That's it.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Joe.
I was just gonna say, too many options. You can relate that to almost anything. In the financial world, there's too many options sometimes, and we see our clients struggle with that, and so we help them narrow down the options that are actually right for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Joe, I talked to a guy one time, and he said you were the 13th advisor that I've interviewed
today.
Yeah, and I was like, buddy, I was like, you got to be, up to your eyeballs or even underwater. He's like, I have no idea what's going on.
Exactly.
I was like, yeah, that's probably an excessive options. Number four with habits, remember that it is a process. Okay. we get so caught up on what we're going to look like, Joe, when we lose that 25 pounds. And, my father told me one time, and, that when he was young, he was a chick magnet. It still makes me throw up a little bit in my mouth.
And I've met your dad now. That's, yeah.
Yeah. He's no chick magnet, I can tell you. But I mean, we imagine ourselves 25 pounds lighter on the beach, all the, like a scene out of Baywatch, for crying out loud. We forget that we actually got to go to the gym today and tomorrow and process the plan to lose the 25 pounds. So process it. It's a process.
Yeah.
Number 5, eliminate what I call screw it moments. I love picking on my weight because all these apply to me trying to lose weight. So I really, like, about 6 months ago, I was like, you know what? You know who looked really awesome? Joe. And Joe, you've seen the new Batman movies, haven't you, with Christian Bale?
Yes.
My man is pretty jacked up in that movie. So I was like, I'm going to figure out what that guy did to get that cut and lean and ripped up. And so I pulled up the Batman exercise program and nutrition program, and I looked at it, I printed off, and it was like 36 pages long. Wow. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And then, you know what? I realized, I said, you know what? This is completely unreasonable. I said, I'm going to get in the gym and I'm going to do it for 1 or 2 days. And then if I can get out of bed, I'm going to say, heck with this. I'm not doing this. I'm not Christian Bale, for crying out loud. So let's be realistic on what we can do. And then finally, the last thing is laser sharp focus. One of the things that we often hear is that, hey, I got distracted. I couldn't think about that. I had to put that on the back burner. And with habits, you have to create the habit. But one of the things you can do to help maintain focus on your goals and keeping these habits is get an accountability partner. Get someone who will meet you at the gym. Get someone who will challenge you and say, show me your goals. How much progress have you made? And that will help you maintain focus. I believe that that's really important, that we're meant to go through these things together with people. It's so difficult to do it on your own. And so those are just 6 things right there that each one of you listening to this podcast can start doing right away to ensure that you create great habits.
Yeah. And Ben, just to talk about the accountability partner, and thinking back in my own past trying to make habits, it is easy to get, like, say, one day you get off, okay? And I think it's easy to get discouraged. And one day can turn into 2 days, into 3 days. But I think having that accountability partner or some kind of system like that, if you get off one day, you know what? It's okay. Just get back on, right?
Yeah, that's where the accountability partner is huge. Because the accountability partner is going to be like, hey, I didn't see you at the gym yesterday. Yeah. And what happened? Everything okay? Yeah, I'll meet you there tomorrow. Okay, get you back on track. Let's go. And Joe, and what's amazing is that people hire us to be that accountability partner. That's crazy to think about. That is probably our main role. Everything we're not doing anything special at Waypoint. I say that, and it's funny when I tell people that because they look at me like I'm insane. But but we just find out what people want, and then we help them get it. We hold them accountable. We say, this is what you want. One of my favorite stories is a client called me and he said, your staff has called me like 17 times to get this done. And I said, well, I think you told me you wanted to get that done.
Exactly.
And he's like, well, I had no idea that y'all would be that persistent in helping me get that done. I said, that's what you pay us for.
Yeah.
So Joe, I think those are all great little stories that explain kind of how we're helping clients create great habits and thinking through and keeping these really important things top of mind. So one other story I think it's really important to hear, and then we'll talk about some financial stuff. One of my clients one time called me, and we were just chatting, and he's probably our oldest client in the pharmacy industry. And I said something to him when I said, I think what makes Waypoint unique is the fact that we get these things off your mind. Mm-hmm. And he said, Ben, you got that backwards. The reason I keep you around is you help keep those important things on my mind. And that when that happened, Joe, I realized how much more powerful what we're doing is. It's simple, it's effective, but man, it's life-changing for a lot of our clients. So yeah, that's how you create great habits. So Joe, let's talk about some financial habits. What are some things people can do to create some great financial habits?
Sure, absolutely, Ben. Great story, by the way. Great financial habits. To be honest, there are dozens of things that we can do. But to put things in context, what I'm passionate about and what you're obviously passionate about, Ben, is for our clients to, no matter how much money they already have or how much they don't have yet, we're passionate about getting them to achieve financial independence. We want them to reach their maximum potential financially. And so when I think of financial habits, I'm thinking of things what can help you get there, or more importantly, what things that you don't do might cost you hundreds of thousands or millions down the road. And, the last thing I want, Ben, and I doubt you want it either, is to have a client come to us during retirement and say, Ben, why didn't you tell me if I only had started this thing a little bit sooner that I could have had another $1 million? That's not what we want. And I think it's important to note that sometimes very small things today can be huge later. A good example I can think of, Ben, do you play golf? You play a
I do. I attempt.
You attempt. You're probably better than I am. But one thing I've learned to appreciate about golf is, you can hit the ball just half a millimeter off the mark, and that may not seem like a lot, but you know what? That could literally be hundreds of yards off the fairway into the trees. So relate that financially. Small little things that we do or do not do today can make a huge impact later. So when I'm thinking about financial habits, I'm thinking, what are some things that we can do that make a huge impact in our favor later on? And out of all the financial habits, I try to look for things that are easy. And there's a couple things that we can do, whether you already have millions or you're just starting off. And that's to make things automatic. Okay. So in your financial life, make things automatic. And honestly, that's a good habit that's pretty easy because all you have to do is just start and just let it go. Now, what are some examples of automatic? Well, let's think about it. Ben, did you make a 401k contribution this month or last month?
Yes, I make it every paycheck.
Okay, every paycheck. So you didn't sit down late one night and take out your checkbook and hand write a check out to the company and stick in an envelope and mail it?
No, Joe, because if I had to do that, I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it. Exactly. So when I talk about automatic, we're talking about things that we can set up once and it's going to happen. In fact, the only way it's not going to happen is if we proactively stop it from happening, which is much different than trying to make it happen. So one of the best examples of making things automatic in your financial life are 401k or 403b or any kind of employer plan. And, a lot of pharmacies these days, 9 out of 10, automatic enrollment. So when you start, you're already adding a certain percentage and they usually match. So let's make that automatic. Now, another example would be, we want your 401k or retirement plan. But Ben, you probably agree that a lot of clients probably should be doing stuff outside of the 401k or in addition to the 401k. So, how do we set things up automatically that aren't the 401k? Whether you want to invest in other stock market investments outside the 401k or maybe real estate or whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to invest in business, money to open a pharmacy someday. Well, look, it's real simple. You could set up another savings account, checking account, even a brokerage account, and have direct deposit from your paycheck into there. So just like you have direct deposit into your 401k, how about have direct deposit into another account? And that account could be for any kind of other investment that you want to do. So it doesn't have to be limited to just your 401k. Set up automatic payments into another account. One of the things that I've worked with clients over the years that really resonates with them and myself is, Ben, one of the things we always talk about is emergency savings. And that's very important. But to be honest, when I hear the word emergency, it's quite boring. But one of the things that I started thinking about was, if we're going to have emergency savings, why not have opportunity savings? Why not have this other pile of money that we can automatically contribute to that gives us opportunity? And from there, we can have that money go into real estate or other investments or business, or just have another pile of savings that can help us reach that financial goal down the road. A third thing that a lot of people are probably doing or will be doing is paying down debt. And here's just maybe kind of a different take on making things automatic. Ben, you probably come across a lot of people that have student loans or other kinds of debt, and they're probably proactively adding extra because they want to pay that down, more aggressively. So let's say they're doing X amount of dollars extra per month. Well, isn't that automatically happening?
It should be. It should be.
It should be.
Yeah, you should be. It should be set up to whatever you want to make that payment. It should be set up to come out and to happen.
Yeah. So if that's already happened automatically and it's being used to pay down debt, well, guess what? Once that debt's gone, why not just have that automatic payment continue to go? But instead of being a debt snowball, have it be a wealth building snowball. Just have it switch and go into savings and investments. It's already It's already automatically happening. Just let it continue. So, Ben, I think the key with the examples here is, there's a lot of different ways you can set up things automatically. And I've seen people get creative, and there's a lot of tools and resources out there. There's that one app, I forget the name, but where it rounds up every time you make a purchase, it rounds up to the nearest dollar, and that difference gets put into savings or investment. Well, that's an automatic thing that happens. So maybe a habit that everybody can focus on is just looking at how many different streams of automatic savings and investments we can have. Don't just limit it to your 401k. Think of all the other ways that we can do that.
Yeah, Joe, that's great advice. I think if we were going to prioritize and talk about, because you mentioned three specific things: 401k, saving, and outside investments for either an emergency fund or an opportunity fund, and then finally debt repayment. I think if we were going to prioritize that, I've actually had a lot of conversations with young people who are looking to become owners.
Correct.
And so they asked me, well, how do I do it? I said, well, my recommendation has always been, let's save in the 401k automatically to get the match.
Yes.
Because that's money that your company's going to provide you. Number two, let's really, really accelerate our savings outside, because you're going to need capital.
Yeah, for the business, yes.
Yeah. If you're not looking to buy a pharmacy, create your emergency fund. 3 to 6 months expenses. Get that created. Joe, I don't like the term emergency fund either, because when you have an emergency fund and your car breaks down, it's not an emergency. It's an inconvenience. I like the term inconvenience fund. So create that inconvenience fund, or create the savings that you're going to, the opportunity savings. And then third, really, really accelerate. I did a program for a bunch of students a couple of years ago, and I actually went through the numbers. If somebody wants to get out of debt, if you have $100,000 of student loan, 115, 120, and you want to be out of debt in 5 or 6 years, you're going to put $2,000 a month towards that payment. And that's tough for somebody. Trust me, I talk to pharmacy students all the time, and a lot of them are in sad shape financially when they're in pharmacy school.
Oh yeah,
they're eating beans and rice, right? Well, they get out of school, start making really good money. They want to just ramp up their lifestyle. That's fine, but just understand the potential cost. Of doing that.
Yeah, and that $2,000 a month example, it is hard, but I had clients that just this past summer, after 4 years, they paid off all their debts minus their mortgage, but all their other debts. And that $2,000, it wasn't exactly $2,000, but just shy of that for them. Guess what? All of that became freed up money. And we did about 2/3 of that going into savings and investments, and they got a little extra lifestyle bonus.
Yeah, great. Absolutely. And if you make that sacrifice up front to do that,
you're building a habit.
You're building a great habit, but you're going to build millions of dollars.
Millions. You're going to hit that golf ball right into the hole.
Exactly. So Joe, thank you. Those are some great examples. I love the story about the pharmacy clients who were got their debt paid off in 4 years. 4 years, guys. That's incredible.
Yeah, they were determined.
Good. Yeah. And I didn't even talk about the other missing component to creating great habits.
What's
discipline, that? Discipline and resilience.
Yes.
You're going to be challenged. You're going to be challenged. No person who has dared to strive greatly. For those of you who haven't read it, go read Teddy Roosevelt's speech, The Man in the Arena. Go read that. And if that doesn't tell you what we're talking about, you want to be the man in the arena, whether you win or whether you fail. You don't want to be the person that's sitting on the sidelines. Now, Joe, last couple thoughts because we're at our time here. Any closing thoughts for you?
I guess I would say, the message I guess today would be to create great habits and that goals need to have great habits to back them up. But also based on your 5% statistic that you said, I was kind of surprised by that. So, the message today is first and foremost, we got to write our goals down. And then back them up with great habits.
Yep. And just remember, guys, we have a little saying over our door. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. That first step you can take today is write your goals down.
Absolutely.
Write your goals down. And Joe, I got a note on my page here where you wrote down the financial habit, make it automatic. Commit to making things automatic. Yeah. You will call us in 5-10 years and say, thank you so much for that advice, because I promise you, the people who do not make it automatic,
it's too easy to not do it.
Exactly. They're the ones that never hit their goals.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. Joe, any final thoughts on this?
Well, how should people get a hold of us?
Yeah, I almost forgot that. That's pretty important. You can reach me personally, Ben, at waypointus.com. Joe, what's your email?
It's joe@pharmacistfinancial.com.
Yep, or go to waypointrx.com. You can see our whole suite of solutions. You'll see Pharmacist Financial on there. Joe and our company has decided to finally formalize things into a venture that we're so proud of. But you'll see his logo on there now. You'll see all of our solutions for pharmacists, pharmacy owners, and pharmacy employees. So with that being said, thank you guys. Joe, any last words?
Have a great day, guys. Be happy.
Yep, thank you.
Interested in learning more about maximizing your income and living a financially free lifestyle? Contact the Income Outcomes Show today to learn more about your financial possibilities and best practices in managing your money to create opportunities for lasting wealth. Go to pharmacypodcast.com under the contact section and send us a message, and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. Thanks for listening to the Income Outcomes Show, a podcast publication part of the Pharmacy Podcast Network.